says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you lusting is the one you're loving?
People out there, somebody said they out there fishing around and finding trout. I like that. Fishing around and finding trout. I was like, I'm going to use that. That is such a nice, clever way of saying some things.
By the way, it was MSNBC. By the way, before you say it was CNN, I just want to get the network straight.
Sorry, because there is a difference. One is failing and the other one is not. So you're on the one that's not failing, that is not struggling. But struggling in other ways. I think everybody's struggling right now. I just need us to all. So Alabama, the Riverfront Brawl, people have been arrested and charges have been levied. Alan Todd, 23, Zachary Shipman, 25. They turned themselves in yesterday and were each charged with one count of third-degree assault, which is a misdemeanor. Montgomery Police Department spokesperson Saba Coleman released a statement. The fight, of course, broke out Saturday after a small private boat blocked the Harriet. It was named the Harriet too, y'all, the Harriet Riverboat. So it blocked the riverboat from docking in its designated spot because, privilege will have privileges. But Damian Pickett, aka Uncle Leotis, the co-captain of the Harriet, he tried for 40 minutes. So this wasn't a just move your ass, get out the way, move, bitch, get out the way. It wasn't that. 40 minutes he was cajoling and asking politely and being nice and all of that to get these people out of the way from being illegal. And instead he was met with taunts and obscene gestures and then fists. Richard Roberts, 48-year-old male, turned himself in earlier yesterday as well, facing 2 counts of assault in the 3rd degree. Police are also seeking further interviews, especially with the man who allegedly was seen by bystanders wielding a folding chair. Just a brief thing about the folding chair. Nathaniel Alexander, patent number 997108, on July 4th, 1911, Nathaniel Alexander of Lynchburg, Virginia, patented the folding chair. According to his patent, the design of the chair was to be used in schools, churches, and other auditoriums. His design included a bookrest that was usable for the person sitting in the seat behind him as well. And it was ideal for churches and for choir use. Nathaniel Alexander, and I bring him up because Mr. Google, do better. If I see one more picture of Lewis Latimer, brilliant genius Lewis Latimer, the person that invented the light filament that Edison was able to then make the light bulb work. It was Lewis Latimer's design that made that happen. Next to the patent of Nathaniel Alexander, I'm going to scream. So I have put out a tweet that I'm asking everyone to cut and paste to send to @Google so that Google can get it right. You're a search engine. You shouldn't have bad information, bad images. You should not have any misinformation on your site. Do better, Google. Do better. Yeah. Do better. So I bring that up, Tyler. Hi.
Hey.
Thoughts and prayers?
I've been busy. Listen, I have been busy. So I have not been able to get your take on the revolution of the whole Montgomery deal. So forgive me that I've missed out on hearing your initial thoughts on it. And I'll be real honest with you. When I was on MSNBC, it was Tuesday morning, and I was on with Reverend Al, and I was hoping that they were not going to ask me about how I felt about it, because I don't think I could have given an answer that would not have maybe riled up some people in not necessarily the right way. Meaning, like, I have very specific feelings about the whole situation, but I kind of wanted to hear yours a little bit.
I'm actually going to say less. I feel like everything has been said that needed to be said, songs written, hymns and anthems performed. Sure. I feel like the memes have been memeing. I feel like Black
I've
Twitter,
never seen before in my life.
This is what I'm saying. And if we have this same level of creativity and energy and solidarity around this, we can have it for everything. Yes.
If I can get 50% of the energy around anything moving us forward, like people have with a chair, like this could be Wakanda.
Or how about just the promise of America?
Right.
A more perfect union. How
Right.
about just that? I would like, because I believe words are powerful. Even if the framers, the majority of which owned human beings and probably didn't see, or they knew, Thomas Edison for sure knew about the power of Africa. I mean, he had a Quran, for crying out loud. Jefferson, right. I mean, yeah. So if the framers wrote these words, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, endowed with these inalienable rights and pursuit of, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and all of these wonderful things that they wanted for all of us, then I think it's up to us, the grandparents of society, to make it so. You said it, let's make it happen. I want everybody to win. Let's everybody win. Let's everyone, because we can. There's abundance. Everyone can eat, have a roof over their heads, and be joyous. We can all have that. So that's what I want. I don't even want Wakanda per se, because Wakanda's gonna have its own problems. I'm just letting you know. Anytime there's homogenous anything, there's always gonna be some issues.
Yo, you are not wrong. I preach on that. But listen, I know it's all been said, but like I said, it was my fault because I didn't catch your take. And I should have, the first thing I should have did on Monday morning was flipped on the Karen Hunter show, because I know that that's where the words and thoughts and actions were being projected. But I missed it.
Full disclosure, I was off Monday. So I had a whole day to just sit because I had a town hall, which was it was powerful, with Kevin Powell and Kierna Mayo, the co-creator of Honey Magazine. And we had a hip hop conversation that nobody has had anywhere, because I don't think anybody could have had a conversation like we had on Monday. So I can't wait to share that. So I was in the city on Monday having adult conversation around the responsibility of hip hop. So it is so what's your take? my take is, don't put your hands on people. Move the hell out the way when people tell you to move. If you're wrong, say you're sorry and move on and stop being racist. That's my take.
My take is a little bit more nuanced, okay? In this. So follow me here. I write about it and I take my coffee black. Watching people that look like us killed on camera or beat up on camera for years now, right in front of our face, it's a certain kind of trauma that we as people of color, to be really honest with you, I think anybody watching it, it's not something we're supposed to see. It's not something we are supposed to partake in, but we now have been conditioned to seeing people of color murdered, beat up, left on the street, shot, killed, pulled out of the car. There was a period of time where it felt like every single time I looked at my phone or turned on the television, that's what I was seeing. I began to get conditioned to that stuff, Karen, and that trauma, which is really trauma. Every time that it affects me, something clicks in me, something dies a little bit in me when I see someone who looks like me and their life taken. And so, before knowing what I was about to watch, I go and click on this video and I see a black man standing alongside a shore, and I see a white man go to approach him, and that trauma that I've experienced for the last however many years began to attach to me, Karen. Like, I found myself going, my God, not again. And why is this streaming? Who recorded this? Like, all the thoughts that had come from me previously of how this shit goes down started playing in my mind. And as I continued to watch it and suddenly saw a young man swimming across the water and other people coming out of nowhere, I realized that what I am traumatized and used to seeing it wasn't going to happen today, Satan. Not today. And when that dude threw up that hat, he threw up the bat signal, and people went, nope, this is not happening today. And listen, the amount of privilege that was poured into this video, that there was a white woman who thought, I can just go into a brawl and not get hit by a chair. There were levels to what we saw. The fact that you had the black woman up there filming with the play-by-play that's just going boom, bow, Like she was having her own experience that represented so many people at home. Like she was the voice of what we were feeling in our souls. And I asked myself, Karen, why is America tripping out on this video? Like I've asked myself multiple times. And for me, my simple answer is because shit flipped on me. I'm used to trauma, and instead I saw victory. Now hear me, because someone will quote me and say Tyler is saying violence is whatever. Nobody wakes up. I've never woken up and just chose violence. But I will tell you this. I've woken up many a times in my life, flipped my phone over, and watched a Black man get beat down. And on that day, I flipped my phone over, and what I thought was going to be a Black man getting beat down was a revival of Blackness that wasn't just about color, because there were white folks in there too.
Yeah, there were a couple white folks pulling people off, and I wanted to say that because I watched carefully. I was like, there was one white guy in the beginning trying to pull people off, and he caught some blows, you know. So
right. And
yes,
so
it was
there was a weird revival of good for me, although it was not. Although it was not good, two things can be true at the same time.
That's right.
Violence is not good, and God, I slept well later that night after the 103rd
Let me tell you,
meeting.
listen, nobody got killed. And if more people would just take their ass whipping like they deserve to get their ass whipped instead of bringing out a gun, coward asses, you know,
Right.
more people just take that ass whipping. You were wrong. You caught these hands. And this goes for everybody. You know, the cowardice solution is to bring a gun.
Right.
Oh, you know, because that just makes you so big. Yeah, the gun is the last word. Nobody died. And people got their ass whipped, and justice was served.
And there were levels, because there is some humor in there. Like I hate
a lot
to
of
say
humor.
it, but there was a lot of humor in that video when the dude threw the hat. Like it wasn't just like it was just like such a like, let's go. Like it was, and the dude swimming across, like in my head, we don't get to see what was happening before he shows up into the screen, right? But was he like looking across, being like,
no, well,
wait.
he's a coworker. He's a 16-year-old coworker. He was also working, I think, on the Harriet, right? So he saw his coworker being jumped, and he jumped he didn't even have good form diving. Let me just say, everybody's saying it was a great swimmer. As a swimmer, the form wasn't great, but it was effective. Right. He got across there probably quicker than Michael Phelps could, because he had a mission. He was going to make sure that dude was not going to get his ass whooped on his watch. 16, a baby, Tyler Merritt. He's not an adult. He's a 16-year-old who decided he was not going to stand there across the dock and watch this happen, not on his watch. And he got there, kicked his shoes off, kicked off his boots, body slammed a few people. He had some MMA moves. I was like, okay, young sir, okay. And it felt like a Wile E. Coyote movie, you know, like a movie version, you know, where the bad guys are getting, you know, it's like a karate movie. Those of us who grew up in those times, you know, it's like, okay, you know, Bruce Lee's getting beat up, you know, or Ip Man, you know, they come to town smacking Ip Man and all the people around, and then they all come together and drive out the Japanese. You know, it's like it felt like that.
And it just kept going and going and going, man. Oh, but anyways, thank you. I know, listen, I agree. Everything has been said. So I appreciate you letting me have my 2 cents, because I feel like this is one of the safest places for me to give my thoughts.
I mean, and it's not to say that people always are looking to be offended and take things out of context and not understand, like, you know, Jamie Foxx saying what he said, and people not understanding the cultural concept. It ain't got nothing to do with Jewish people. Stop it. Y'all don't know us enough. I had to have this conversation today because America is so segregated, and because primarily white folks self-segregate, so-called white people. They 70, 80, 90%, they move into their shtetls, you know, they move into their cul-de-sacs, they move into their communities where they don't have to have any contact. Maybe there's a sprinkling of 1 or 2. I'm watching this TV show on Netflix, with Heather Headley. What the hell is the name of the show? God dog it. I just finished the whole series and I was semi mad. Hold on. Don't tell me, Smiz, and don't you tell me on Twitter because I'm going to find it. Sweet Magnolias, based in South Carolina, right? So it's this nice, quaint town. It's so with this season, they tried to bring some more color in because it was just Heather Headley holding it down, the most successful person in town, And you think about how, we have to contort and comport ourselves in these spaces when we're the only Black person, to be accepted.
Sure.
And I feel like white spaces like that, they have the capacity to accept one or two, as long as you behave the way we want you to, as long as you wear your hair the way, as long as you don't play your music. And for the first time, I had to come to this realization that the majority of this country, their only communication or understanding of Black people is through music, through media, movies, but they don't really have relationships. In fact, NBC did a study, 3/4 of white people in America have no relationship.
Right.
Now, I'm not talking about your nanny or the person that wipes your pop's ass. I'm talking about relationships, friendships. And Tyler, you probably have more than most because you live in Nashville and you're that guy, you're very affable. But even that, you're affable. Do you know what I'm saying? There are ranges of emotions and ways in which we show up in the world. So I had to gather somebody even around this audience. Like, you don't know us.
Right.
This audience can't be found anyplace else. You don't know us. This audience is probably more representative of America than any place else in the world because we have everything here.
Sure.
And you don't get to see this anyplace else. You're not going to find this anyplace else. So I feel like America has some work to do. First of all, stop self-segregating.
Yeah.
Number two, stop shutting off yourself from the possibilities that everybody's just like you. You're not special. Just because I come from the Mayflower or whatever, or my family came here through Ellis Island or whatever. You're not special. Everybody has a story.
Right.
And Black people are not more criminal. We're not more poor. As a matter of fact, I think the secret is out the bag. Black people actually aren't the poorest people. The poorest people in this country are white. But they keep voting against their interests because they've been fed this lie that somehow their whiteness makes them special. Right? You don't have healthcare, teeth, you don't have education, you're poor, you're living on cinder blocks in trailer parks, and you're wondering why, and you're mad. And then you got Trump out there giving you the lie. He wouldn't even invite you. You couldn't shine his shoes, y'all. Y'all out there with he thinks you're all idiots, and you're out there following him because he gives you a sense of self, as opposed to having a sense of community in this thing called America and getting to know some people. So I think we learned some things. First of all, Black people are not going to sit back. This ain't the lunch counters of the 50s and 60s. You're not going to grab people up. You're not going to grab up a James Byrd or Emmett Till out of the bed. You're just not going to be able to put your hands on somebody in public and think that that's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. So, and for us, we got to stop begging for our humanity. And we got to stop going into neighborhoods and trying to be accepted. You're acceptable because you came out of the womb.
Right.
Your very existence in this world makes you acceptable. Everybody's gonna have to figure it out, Tyler.
I was saying recently, and listen, this is why I love coming on this show, because and why I think people love listening to you, because you just are speaking the depths of our soul right now. But it's like I was saying on MSNBC a couple days ago, is I don't want the baseline of how you feel about me is to not be frightened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that to be the big, like, I found myself, Tyler, not afraid of you. The goal is not, the goal
you had somebody say that to you?
No, I mean, okay. I'm just saying, like, because, the first chapter, because you read my book, in the first chapter of the book where I talk about the experience of the white woman in the truck, right. The goal here isn't for one day for me to be able to look at the white woman and have her go, I'm not afraid of that Black man. It need not be that. It need to be, I love that man. He loves me because I have dove into who he is as a human being. And I crave to know who he is because I want to know the depths of who is his mama? Why is he wearing that Alabama hoodie? Do we share the same kind of music? The baseline for my relationship with people that don't look like me on this earth is not, are you afraid of me? The baseline is, how is our love going to grow from this bottom line? Let's start with love. Let our default be love. See where we can go from there.
Yes, how about that?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I run my fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you're lusting is the one